Okay, I will start the conference. The official language of our conference is English. So, good morning, dear colleagues. Good morning, dear participants and guests of our conference. And as you all guys know, due to the pandemic coronavirus situation in the world, we will have virtual conference this year. This is the second IEEE International Conference on advanced trends in information theory. My name is Victoria Ivannikova. I am Secretary of Information Theory Society of IEEE Ukraine section, as Alexander Konstantinovich told at the beginning. And I will moderate today's conference. Traditionally, the IEEE conference will be opened by the chair of IEEE Ukraine section. It's well-known scientists, my colleagues from the National Aviation University, head of the department, Professor Felix Yanovsky, and he is also the IEEE Life Fellow. So, Professor Felix, the floor is yours, and we are very pleased to listen your presentation.
Thank you very much, Victoria, for the introduction. Do you hear me?
Yes, we hear you well.
Okay, thank you. I will try to include my presentation now. Just a moment. Do you see my screen?
Yes, we see it well.
Okay, thank you very much. Good morning, dear colleagues, ladies and gentlemen, the participants of the conference on advanced trends in information theory. My name is Felix Yanovsky. I am a professor of electronics, robotics, monitoring and IoT technologies at the National Aviation University. And a couple of words about my IEEE activity. It was started in 1994 when I joined IEEE during the Antenna Conference in Seattle, United States. Since 1996, I became senior member of IEEE, and since 2008, I was elected as the IEEE Fellow. As the IEEE volunteer, many years ago, I was the founder of the IEEE Signal Processing and Aerospace and Electronic System Society chapter in Ukraine. And in 2016, I was elected for the first time, and currently I am again a chairperson of the IEEE section in Ukraine, the main IEEE entity in our country. And now in this, my capacity of the IEEE Ukraine section chairperson, I would like to welcome all of you at this opening ceremony of the Second International Conference on Advanced Trends in Information Theory. A couple of words about the Institute of Electrical and Electronics Engineers. It is the world's largest professional association dedicated to advancing technological innovation and excellence for the benefit of humanity. IEEE now has more than 420,000 members, almost 500,000 members in more than 160 countries. And you perhaps know, but maybe not everybody, because not all participants of the conference are IEEE members, unfortunately. I would like to say a couple of words about IEEE structure. All the world is divided by on 10 zones. the first 6 zones are located in the United States of America. 6, from first to 6. 7th zone is Canada. 8th zone is all Europe, Africa, Middle East, and all the Russia. And 9th zone is South America and Central America, including Mexico. And finally, 10th zone is China, India, Australia, so Southeast Asia. This division, a little bit strange because 6 zones are in USA. It is related with actually that fact that IEEE was created in USA, and USA has much more members than other countries. One city, Boston, has much more members than all the Ukraine. And actually section, it is, of course, geographical division, but not exactly the number of sections is not equal to the number of countries. In US, we have a lot of sections. In Ukraine, we have 1 section, even more. Ukraine section include also Georgia, because Georgia has a limited number of members and they are included in Ukraine section. Russia has 3 sections, for example, in Moscow, in St. Petersburg, and in Novosibirsk. That was geographical division. And a simplified IEEE structure, which is indicated here, in addition to geographical division, where IEEE is divided by region are divided by sections, and student branches, and so on. There is also professional division, division on application areas. And from this point of view, IEEE has societies. There are 39 societies, and societies create chapters together with sections in different sections in different countries, and there are around 2,200 chapters in the world. Here you see the list of societies. There are 39 societies. Among them, there are many societies which are of great interest of us and of your conference also. And I also created a slide with a limited number of societies which are the most popular in Ukraine, where we have chapters related with this society, and the youngest chapter is your chapter, Information Theory Society chapter. IEEE is actually a very important professional organization which conducts a lot of international, the most interesting, popular, and great conferences in the world, and also it is a greatest publisher of the most, let's say, respected professional journals. Hundreds of journals are actually created by the IEEE. Each society has their own journal, even not only one. And publication in such journal, it is the guarantee of success. That means that your paper will be cited, it will be known, and it is very important to make publication in IEEE journals. Unfortunately, it is not so easy. And it is absolutely not true that it is necessary to pay money for that. The only important, let's say, condition is to have a very nice, very strong, very interesting and original paper. If your paper is, after the reviewing, accepted, it will be published, even if you are not able to pay money. So don't believe to that person who say that it is necessary to pay obligatory big money. They can ask to donate. That's true, and you should pay for additional papers. But if your additional pages, sorry, if your paper has a limited number of papers, for each journal is different. For example, 6 pages. It can be published free of charge. Another important activity of IEEE is IEEE standards. I believe that everybody knows that IEEE standards are used everywhere in electrotechnics, electronics, information technology, and so on. You can see here some examples of IEEE standards, and you can see that no LAN, MAN, WAN, Ethernet, Wi-Fi, Bluetooth, WiMAX, ZigBee, different things, cryptography would be not possible without IEEE standards, because internet actually is not possible without IEEE standards. Otherwise, we were not be able to have let's say, compatible devices everywhere. So the let's say activity of IEEE is very, very important for us. Moreover, in the framework of IEEE, there is so-called Future Direction Committee, Future Directions Committee, which actually is a kind of IEEE's innovation engine. They actually can determine which direction of development are the most important for this period of time. And for example, recently, IEEE Future Directions Committee, let's say, determined these 8 directions of development where our innovation should be, let's say, directed. It's a big data, cybersecurity, green information communication technology, Internet of Things, rebooting computing, smart cities, smart materials, software-defined networks. And of course, all of them are related between themselves. It is everything very important for all of us and for your conference as well. I would like to say a couple of words also about the development of IEEE in Ukraine. The first steps of IEEE in Ukraine were done in 1991. Actually, in that time, Ukraine scientific community in Canada sponsored IEEE membership in our country, and they sponsored the first 50 members. They paid for them in 1991, and the IEEE Ukraine section was established in November 1991, in 2 months after the declaration of Ukraine independence. It is also a very symbolic fact. And the first IEEE members in Ukraine were scientists and teachers from Kyiv Polytechnic Institute. That is not because they are very wise, clever, and so on. It was just a situation when it was inspired from Canada, and then rector Petro Palanchuk was the Minister of Education, and he was the first section, the first chair of Ukraine section at that time. But of course, you know, when some organization, it is a public organization, is created from the top, it is not very active. Actually, the real activity of IEEE started in when chapters were created. The first chapter, first 2 chapters were created in 1995. And it was done with assistance of IEEE Poland section, and personally Professor Joseph Modelsky, who is our big friend of Ukraine. And the first chapter organizers were in Lviv, Professor Nikolai Voitovich, and in Kharkiv, Professor Alexander Nosich. Later, many other chapters were created also. current IEEE Ukraine section committee, you can see our members of this committee, and also all chairs of all chapters are also invited as members of committee. We have now very democratic, let's say, structure and work, and we are working together with our local chapters and society chapters and affinity groups and so on. Here you see a picture of one of the section executive meeting. Actually, we have said that Ukraine section now is representing the Ukraine in Ukraine and Republic of Georgia, as I have mentioned already, and around 250 members we have, 14 technical chapters, and 2 affinity groups, particularly young professionals and women in engineering. And IEEE Ukraine unities organize and support local events, a lot of conferences. We have liaison with professional societies, with local professionals, and much, much more. Here you see in this slide the examples of the IEEE conferences which we organize regularly. It's just examples, and many others among the conference which are organized by IEEE members of Ukraine under the supervision of IEEE Ukraine section, and your conference is among them. In 2017, we organized the first Ukraine IEEE conference on electrical and computer engineering, UPERCON, which was established and organized as the flagship IEEE conference in Ukraine. And the next UPERCON was held in 2019 in Lviv. It is very also important to say that in 2017, the Ukraine IEEE section was able to, let's say, we submitted and we published a lot of historical papers about development of microwaves in Ukraine, about radar activity even from Soviet times, but it was Ukraine. Ukraine was the UN member and actually formally independent country in accordance with constitution of the USSR. That is why we were able to achieve the highest recognition of IEEE. It is a kind of, it is named milestone. In 1938, Ukrainian Physical and Technical Institute in Kharkiv created this radar, Zenit, which was the first radar with in this frequency band with parabolic antenna, which was able for the first time to measure all 3 coordinates of the air target. So it was possible to measure both range and also azimuth and elevation angle, and it was recognized officially by IEEE, and we got the special IEEE milestone. It is the first such kind of recognition in our country, but I believe it is not the last one. Here you see a picture when the director of IEEE Region 8, Kostas Stasopoulos, actually this is the plaque, it's a big bronze plaque, which is handed to IEEE Ukraine section, actually not to section, to Ukraine. And now it is this, you can see this plaque, it is very heavy. And now it is given, it is installed on the wall near the Dean office of radio physics faculty in Karazin State University in Kharkiv, not because in that university it was done, but because It was done in Ukrainian Physics Technical Institute, but it is not exist anymore. It was actually after the war. It was not renovated, but the majority of persons who participated in this work, they were in the past the students. They graduated from this university, and it is very important thing. And now I would like to say also about other conferences, and among them our conference, second international conference on advanced trends in information theory, ATIT 2020. I would like to say that organization and conducting IEEE conferences, it is a very important and useful for our scientific community, for our country, and for each of participants personally. A lot of our collaborators have IEEE Explore and Scopus and Web of Science publications thanks to our IEEE conferences, like this conference on advanced trends in information theory. In this connection, I would like to underline that you should remember that quality of your papers and presentations is the only guarantee that this young conference, it is the youngest conference, IEEE conference in Ukraine, will be successful and continue its successful life in the future. The requirements to the IEEE conferences become stricter every year. The reviewing and selection of papers for the inclusion into the program become more sophisticated. That is why I have a good reason to congratulate all of you, all participants, that your papers are now in the program. On behalf of the IEEE Ukraine section, I would like to thank Professor Alexander Yudin, the conference chair, and Dr. Victoria Ivannikova, the chapter secretary, for their good job to organize this conference in spite of this awful COVID-19 pandemic. On behalf of IEEE, I congratulate all of you, the participants of the conference, with this, I hope, successful start of the conference. I wish you sincerely to make a very nice online presentation, to get new knowledge and impressions, to have interesting discussions during this second IEEE conference on advanced trends in information theory. I would like to wish you a nice ATIT 2020. Good luck, and good health. It is now important to everybody. Thank you.